All right, thread heads. Welcome to another week of Thick Threads, the show where we dive into the craziest and wildest Twitter threads on the internet.
You sound like you did the very first time we did this show.
I forgot. I wanted to bring back the intro, but
the original intro.
Yeah, I was somewhat close, right?
Yeah.
The show where we dive into the craziest or the thickest threads on the internet.
Yeah.
Was that close?
We said so. We used to say something about rabbit holes.
I've never been a catchphrase type of person. I always thought it was. I never had a problem with it, but I just felt like for me it was kind of forced. You know how like a lot of YouTubers be like, "Hey, what's up? What's good? And what's in?" You know, or whatever.
What's up, y'all? I'm Patrick Cloud, and be careful because you might get wet.
Now
You're a cloud.
Oh,
cloud burst.
I was about to say I never said that.
What would your catchphrase be?
I have a cadence that I always do. Like, "What up, y'all? I'm Patrick Cloud." So it's not like that's a catchphrase. I do have a cadence that you can copy.
Yeah.
But I don't have like a... Well, go ahead.
What's up, y'all? I'm Patrick Cloud, and this is...
That was just you saying it. It felt like...
What up, y'all? I'm Patrick Cloud, and this is... What's your show called?
I don't know.
Brother Man in Nature. What's your
What the hell are you talking about?
What's the name of your animal thing?
Pat Geo.
Pat Geo. What's up, y'all? I'm Patrick Cloud, and this is another episode
Brother Man
of Pat
in
Geo.
Nature? That's crazy. Brother Man in Nature. It's insane.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with being a brother man in nature. Unless you Desmond. Unless your name is Desmond. I don't want to hear nothing.
From RDC?
No! Alone.
Who's Desmond?
The nigga who fucking tapped out within 2 hours.
Oh, his name was Desmond.
His name was Desmond.
Oh,
Desmond,
yeah.
I'm disappointed. Season 2?
We're watching...
Was it season 2 of Alone?
We're watching a show called Alone, which I just found out yesterday was started on the History Channel and then went to Netflix, which is why Netflix only has one season.
One season,
Yeah,
but we're watching and the rest on
Prime.
It Prime?
Yep. And what's crazy about this is I'm realizing probably since last October that whatever I do primarily is what all my dreams are about. And okay, so for example,
playing zombies.
We started playing zombies on Call of Duty. Probably around a lot of this year, but really heavy after we got back from Greece for like 2 months straight. We were like in a camp, like always like, all right, get on, you know? And all my dreams were zombies. Even if it wasn't just me playing zombies, it was related to the map,
me too.
The objectives, all of that. Then we started playing, we started watching Alone. And I started having like a lot of wilderness, outdoorsy dreams.
Right. So basically, Alone is a show where it's a competition of 10 people who are put out into the wilderness, like Patagonia or Vancouver Island or something like that, or Alaska somewhere. And they have 10 items that they can bring with them, and that's all they get. And they have to survive in the wilderness alone. There could be bears, pumas, cougars. There could be, boars, anything around. And you have to just make sure you keep yourself safe. And, all these people, they're like survival experts going into this.
Until they're not.
Supposedly.
Until they're not.
Until we saw fucking Desmond.
Season 2 had the first black dude. And it was very funny because he got there, he saw like 2 signs of bears, and he called out. First day, never set his structure up, never made a fire, and in his backstory, he was like, if you see me in the woods with a bear, help the bear. Like totally took the mystical joke, bragging to all his friends like, I'll whoop a bear. and then was out the first day, which wouldn't be that bad if there were people out on the day 2, day 3. I think the next person like that tapped out went in like 2 weeks from there. So he was.
She saw the next person that tapped out. She saw a bear, but the bear was actually like on camera near her at night. She actually had to use
that was the next
everything.
Person? Are you sure?
I think so. It was a bigger lady.
No, there was a dude who tapped out after him because remember in the after preview they were talking to each other and then they started introducing more people.
Okay,
so there was a white dude who went right after him, but he still made it like a couple days, maybe a week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, black people representation so far on that show has been terrible.
It was terrible.
But now I think my dreams are more centered around Marvel Rivals. We've been playing a lot of the new game, Marvel Rivals, and I can't really explain how it's like that, but it's very much like the same levels, the same like I can't really describe it.
Mine was about Dexter. I've been
Dexter dreams.
Yeah, Dexter dreams. Yeah, now I'm like, because we're watching Dexter New Blood right now, and so last night my dreams were about that, and I was just like, damn, yeah. Because it had his son in it.
That's not fun.
So I was just like, ooh, this is... No, but it was just like, I was just on edge. It was like I was watching it in my dreams. So I wasn't actually a part of the show.
You were watching the show in your dream?
I'm watching the show
That's
in my
boring
dreams.
as hell.
It is, but not really. Because I'm like on my toes. So it's just a different feel of watching a show in your dreams versus watching your show in reality. It's almost like in your dreams you can be a part of the show versus in reality you can't.
That's like them VR things where they be like, you could watch a movie in VR and you're like, damn, I could be in the Jason Bourne thing. And it's like, no, you're in a movie theater watching a screen in VR.
Right.
So, okay. So what we got today?
Well, my fact has to do with your alter ego and how it can actually help you. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So my fact is the Batman effect.
I knew it.
You've heard of the Batman effect?
Mm-hmm.
It's a psychological strategy that involves adapting an alter ego, such as Batman, to improve performance on a task. The benefits of the Batman effect include concentration, improve executive functioning, overcome frustration, avoid feeling dispirited during new challenges, reduces anxiety, boosts confidence and determination, and you can gain control of emotions. How it works is that the Batman effect creates a psychological distance between the person and the task, allowing them to think about it from different angles. This can help people reflect on the problem, imagine a role model, and take a step back from their immediate feelings. So, I always feel like separating yourself from the task or separating yourself from the problem always gives you a fresh outlook on how to solve it, whatever it is, or how to move forward or whatnot. So
I feel like that. Yeah, that sounds like multiple personality disorder.
Wow.
But I feel like I do have a form of Batman effect. Batman is my favorite superhero, probably next to Spider-Man. And I used to, and the only reason I say used to is because I haven't done it in a long time. I'm pretty sure I'm still like this. Whenever I had a bunch of like projects coming up, or if I was feeling unmotivated, I would watch a lot of Batman stuff, whether it was the movies or the cartoon, because I always thought it was so crazy that he could be a billionaire during the day with a billionaire schedule and then still have the energy to go out at night and get jumped 7 times. Because he'd be leaving at like midnight. And I just couldn't imagine, just based on my life, all the times where he'd be like, I got a headache. I ain't trying to go. I'm tired. I'm bruised up from last night. But he's always doing stuff. He's always productive. And that's my Batman effect. I just be watching like, yeah, I could do stuff too.
I could do stuff too. It's crazy. But I mean, because if you think about it, think about it could be the same thing for somebody who goes to work and does something that they don't really like doing. When they get home, if they love video games, what you gonna do? The first thing you do when you get home is you gonna get on the game,
Right.
or whatnot. And then some niggas can play for 6 hours,
Mhm.
after they
Me.
come home from being a stand-up citizen, doing their job or what they need to contribute to society, and then when they go home, it's do whatever you're passionate about. I talked to my family, my sister, about like her passions and what you want to do in life and how you're searching for it or whatever. And I tell her that I feel like what your passion is something that you're willing to do without anyone telling you to do it. Something that you want to do without anybody being like, hey, did you do this? If you're a writer, if you love to write, more than likely, nobody's going to have to tell you to write because it's something that you're going to do on your own. And the goal is to find that passion that you love and to shift it into a form of currency. That way you never feel like you're working.
Damn. I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I think, I don't know if that's true for me. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that I'm passionate about that
people have to tell you to do it in order for you to do it.
People don't have to tell me, but it's like, I feel like there's a lot of things that I'm insanely unmotivated to do that when I do it, I love it. But I mean, and like I said, I don't want to put that on anybody else, but I have heard that it is the same with musicians, writers, it's something that they love doing, but they'll just be in like a rut where they haven't done it in months, and they kind of need the people around them to be like, yo, you gotta start writing again. You gotta start doing this again. And I don't think that means that they don't have a passion for it. I just think that creating art is tough. It's a lot tougher than people think.
But when I say passion, I'm not talking about something that you like to do or something you enjoy doing. So because I feel like there's different levels.
I'm talking about what you're talking about.
But when it comes to that, like, I feel like the reason people are telling you at that moment to do it,
because you're not passionate.
I don't know if it's necessarily that you're not passionate about it, but I feel like people will go to their passion when like things might be in a rut or they're frustrated about something. More than likely, people will go to something they're passionate about to take their mind off of it.
Sure.
So it's like, I just know of people who, like, what are you doing in your off time outside of watching TV? Like, what are you into? What is something that you're searching about, that you find yourself constantly engulfed in?
Yeah.
More than likely, it's not because somebody told you, hey, go look this up, or hey, go do that. More than likely, it came from within.
Sure.
And you're like, I really love doing this. This is a passion of mine. So you're not necessarily searching for your passion, but when you're searching for your passion to know, like, what is it that I am passionate about? It's, to me,
you're just talking about just finding the passion.
Yeah, it's more than likely what you gravitate towards. Like my sister, she can tell me everything about Marvel superheroes, like their relationships with other, characters, everything like that. And I'm like, well, maybe your passion is wanting to do something in that realm because nobody ever has to tell you like, hey, go look up this and this. We can just ask you because you already know, because you already done the research on your own because it's what you love to do and you're passionate about it.
Absolutely. Finding your passion is very easy when you're an artist. Yeah. I think that being consistent with it is tough based on, a lot of artists are troubled, that's and one thing I learned growing up with so many artists is that it's very unpredictable. It's never really one thing, I think you're right. Finding it is something that you might even see signs of when they're a baby, but I think that again, don't want to put this on every artist, but it seems like passion and motivation for those things is very up and down.
But sometimes I think it can change because you're not the same person at 25 as you were when you were 15. You've grown, you've developed, your brain has shifted, and so your interests may also shift, your passions may shift as well. I think there are some things that kind of stay consistent throughout that time. But for the most part, a lot of people can shift or figure it out later on from 25 to 35 and maybe 35 to 45 or whatnot. They will find like different interests and maybe different passions. That's why people learn a new language later on in life or start playing an instrument or whatnot. People who weren't musically inclined as a teenager or a young adult in their older age is like, hey, you know what? I'm finding myself gravitating towards jazz. Maybe I want to, I'm going to start going to jazz clubs. If I love it, maybe I want to learn how to play the saxophone.
Sure.
So like, I just feel like constantly if
you changing,
if you find that area and maybe sometimes you fall off of it, and somebody may remind you, but I'm talking more so in the context of constantly having to tell you, oh, if you want to be a writer, why aren't you writing? Like, what are you doing? If somebody has to keep telling you to do something, and this is just my opinion, I don't feel like you're passionate about that. And maybe there's something else that you need to be exploring, because if somebody keeps telling you like, hey, maybe you need
That's
to do
an interesting thought.
Because sometimes we're good at things that we're not passionate about.
Sure.
And so our friends will tell us like, you're good at this. You should be doing blah, blah, blah. Like,
and you
but
don't want to.
in essence, you're not passionate about that, but they're telling you to do it because you're good at it.
I think you are right about that, but it's also like, it's kind of a dangerous game, because I know that art has a very deep connection with the person who's creating it, and I think that you do bring a interesting point, which is just like, man, could it be that you're just not interested in doing this anymore? Possibly. But I also think that, like, I feel like some of the artistic stuff that I've done growing up, or my friends and the people that I surrounded myself, because I grew up with a lot of artists.
Right.
It's like, there's just like this weird tie to certain things where it's almost like, I've seen stories of people who put things down for 10, 20 years, but the universe just keeps bringing it back to them. And I think that we're very stubborn creatures, and sometimes it takes like the universe giving you like a sign, like, come back to this, and you ignore it, and then it happens like 10 more times, and then you're just like, oh my God, like, okay, and then you either fall back into it or you do it again, and then everything comes rushing back. And like it's almost like in that fight show that we saw where they brought Pierre back into UFC, and he was just like, oh man, I missed this. Thank you so much. I missed this, And I think that there is an element of that, and it depends on how stubborn we are. There are people who get back into things. And I think that a big part of it is that because of social media and because of how the pressures of success, we think that all art leads to being rich and successful, So it's like, if there's like a painter and you see their paintings and like, oh my God, these should be everywhere. These should be in every museum, blah, 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 blah. And just not focusing on like this makes you happy to do, I think it's never too late. I think that, if I saw a 50-year-old going through his old paintings and he's just like, yeah, I don't really do anything, I would do exactly what you were saying. Hey, man, pick it up again, blah, 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 blah. And even if that doesn't lead to them being Vincent van Gogh, it might lead to them just having a happy rest of their lives because they get to do this. I don't think it ever really leaves, though.
Yeah.
If it was truly there in the first place.
I don't think we can be passionate. I think about passion and love kind of very similarly. And I feel like you can't truly love a whole bunch of people a bunch of people, like truly like fall in love with a bunch of people. I feel like that is a special type of love that only comes out with something that's beyond what's special. I feel like that is with passions. Like you can be interested in a lot, but passionate, when you're truly, truly passionate, I agree with you, that never leaves. But I feel like, there are times where it's like, it's in and out. But in the grand scheme of things, I feel like you always know that that's a passion of yours. Like for me, I love playing basketball. Oh my God. Every time I get on the court, I'm just like, this was so fun. This was so good. But, unfortunately, at this point, I ain't making no career out of it or whatnot. But I do find myself gravitating towards wanting to do more with it outside of just being a player. You know what I'm saying? So, and I also think when it comes to passions that there are going to be aspects of that passion that you might not want to do, So there's the actual passion and then things that it takes to make that passion, come to life. Like, take, for example, we love, say you love playing the piano or whatever, and you love playing the piano, but you don't like recording everything. The aspect of having to set the camera up and record it and then create a caption and a title and edit it and post it. Those are the parts of the passion that you don't particularly like doing. I think sometimes the process of us exposing our passions is what gets in the way of us.
But you named everything
doing it.
That wasn't necessary in playing the piano. That was making content around the piano. I think that obviously there's a huge aspect of like laziness. Yeah, that's why I was saying that it doesn't always equal money and a career. I think that if you're passionate about playing the piano, you would just sit at a piano and play, regardless of if you wanted to make content, or not.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. That's why a lot of things don't get done because of the work that it takes. I think that's a whole different thing. But I think that when we talk about the actual art, it can be a number of things. It can be like, am I good enough at this thing? Is it, I think that what people think about people is a huge hindrance, even like you could even break it down to like, what's the point? I feel like I've seen a lot of people walk away from things that their passion because of fear of failure. I think that's probably the biggest thing,
Sure.
And then people don't even fully fail at it. They just see it not going as crazy as who they're looking up to. So they just bow out. And a part of me knows it's not gone because they'll still be involved in certain ways, whether that's, like dipping in a whole different art form, like, reviewing that thing, or just like doing things here and there. But it's never really gone, know? So I think that, art is really the only thing that we've been talking about because that was how it came up. But I feel like it could be anything, I think that, like gardening, really anything, interior design, anything. I guess both of those could be considered art forms too.
They are. But definitely, the way you design a place is definitely an art form because everybody can't do it. And if you look in some places, it just looks thrown together, it looks a mess, and then you're like, oh, let's hire a interior designer, and then they come in and they're like, this will connect, visually connect everything for you and make it a better environment.
I think the best example said so far was when you said sports, because the window to make a career is so small, but that it's just crazy how much that hinders some people. It's like if you like shooting hoops, if you like playing golf, well, golf has a way higher window. But I think that the passion and just like we're so judgmental nowadays that people can't just like doing something. You know, it has to be just like, you'll never make it to the NBA. Like, nigga, I'm 40. I'm 55. Why? I'm 60. Like, why is that even matter? Like, you know, we last time we went to the gym, there was a dude who was super old who was like, yeah, I'm about to shoot some hoops. I was like, I love that. You just like it. You staying fit, you know, and I think that that should be the energy. That should definitely be the energy.
Definitely. I think that when I talk about, you know, making a career out of something you're passionate about, I feel like people work better when they're passionate about something. So people in the medical field, you know, when there's somebody who truly loves being a nurse, you can tell because they're so warm. They're so like,
they're into it.
They're into it. So sometimes even no matter what the pay is, if they actually just love doing it, then you feel that. And I feel like there's so many people in this world that may have passions in all the different fields that they don't end up going into for one reason or another, society's pressures or whatnot, to do certain things. Like, that's why a lot of people, they'll go to college, especially our generation, will go to college, and then by the time they're 35 or even 30 or maybe even 25, they have switched careers and are not using that degree at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes there's a pressure to be like, okay, you're 18, figure out what you want to do. You need to have a career trajectory, and that's what you need to stick with. Yeah, whether it's something you love doing or not, you're just like, I'm frazzled. I need to pick something, you know. And so I think now
picking is the most important part,
beyond us, now I think they have a kind of a freer a freer choice of expression on how they can, you know, select their different passions and actually monetize it. And through social media, that has given people like a bit of a breathing room to be able to select something that they're more interested in doing. Because I've seen like people who don't have the traditional look of what people look like when they were making it in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, you know, succeeding because they were just minding their business. They put it on social media, and social media took it and ran with it, and now it's become a career. They didn't have to depend on anybody or not or whatnot. Their talent spoke for itself, and now they get to do what they want.
That's the smoothest route. But not everybody has that. That's why I feel really bad for people who are in college. It might be like third, maybe even like the fourth year, and they're like, I still haven't decided. I'm freaking out, you know. And it's just like, I don't see anything wrong with you figuring out what you want to do at 45. There's way too many
$30,000 to $100,000 in debt trying to figure it out.
Right. But I mean, like, yeah, you obviously want to take the best route there, but it's also, I think it is a lot of pressure to be like, okay, I don't know what I want by 18. I'm going to college. You tried all of this stuff. As long as you're actively trying, there'll be people that be coasting and be like, I haven't found what I wanted to do. You didn't try. But if you're actively trying a whole bunch of stuff and you reach the end of college, you might just be like, all right, what I really want to do ain't offered here.
Right.
And I think that's okay. It's there's way too many case studies of people, you know, way past the age of when they should have done something that are insanely successful. So I'm just one of those people that just feels like you have your whole life to do it.
I think if I had to go back and do it, because like, honestly, I never took a break from school. So even in high school, I was going to summer school. As soon as I graduated high school, I went to college, but I went to summer school from high school to college. And every summer through college, because I ended up double majoring, had to take multiple classes during the summertime. And then as soon as I graduated college, I went straight to grad school. No breaks in between. It was just like bam, 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 bam. If I had to do it all over again, I think that I would take a break from those summers, enjoy those summers, and also not go to a 4 year straight out of high school. out of high school, go to like a community college or something to get your AA, or just like, just have a little bit of general education time before I have to declare a major to try to figure out, just a little break. Because you think about that transition from high school to college it's quite crazy, especially with independence, because this is a time where you're trying to figure out. Everything is handed to you in high school for the most part.
Right.
In high school, you're pretty much taken care of. You're getting driven to and from school or whatnot. Everything, you come home, food might be ready, or somebody else is buying food for you when you go to college. Now everything is on your own. You have to make sure everything is checked off on your own. So that trying to find a career trajectory at the same time as you're trying to learn how to live on your own with assistance, it's a lot to put on a person to try to say, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I think that if I had to do it all over again, I would take more breaks in between, and I would definitely do my first 2 years to where there's not so much pressure, and
those breaks would just be like enjoying yourself.
Yeah, taking the time off to maybe figure out what the passion is. Those summers are a break for you to like do stuff you enjoy, and I think maybe I would have found a passion sooner if I had taken those breaks that I needed to just enjoy.
You're saying that you don't necessarily always find your passion at school.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You could learn at school, and then when you take that break, take the time to indulge in things or explore other things that school may not be teaching you, or that you did learn at school.
Yeah, because most really passionate hobbies you find outside of school, and then go to school to learn. Yeah,
right. So if you figure that out, then when you go back to school, it's like, okay, maybe I can shift this, and now I'm working towards that interest that I have. It's all about exploring around that age. It's all about exploring and finding your independence and
also just being human too. Because I feel like the pressures are not really evenly distributed. Everybody feels like it, but some people feel it way more than others. And I see that kids that have to grow up really quickly because of something, I don't know, traumatic or whatever. A lot of times people are still like trying to make sure that they have time to just be kids, because a lot of kids have to miss out on that. And I think that we forget about that as adults, because some people are so pressured trying to find out what the next thing is. And obviously there should be a pressure because that's a big part of life.
Right.
A lot of people just don't carve out time for them to be human.
Right.
And we always think about the career opportunities that we missed out on. Like, damn, if I would have went back, I would have worked harder and I would have had less breaks, blah, 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 blah. When it's like a lot of times it's like, damn, if I would have gone back, I would have just enjoyed college a little bit more. I would have enjoyed myself. I would have explored, what I wanted to do a little bit more. It's not always about, damn, what work didn't I do?
Right.
It's about, what growth didn't I do?
Discipline.
Right.
It's like, damn, I want to, okay, I'm disciplined.
Because if it all works and you get a career and blah, 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 it's going to be the same regret. Instead of going back and, it's always going to be some type of regret. Either the people who are found their thing and now they're locked in it, they'll be like, damn, I'm locked in this thing. I wish I just had more time to myself back then.
Right.
Or the people who didn't find it are going to be like, man, I enjoyed myself too much.
Right. Whoops.
Balance. All right, I'm gonna say a real quick thread just so that I have one on the. This shit is soft. All right, cuddling. Cuddling can not only improve sleep, but it can help relieve pain.
This is a thread or this a fact?
It's a fact.
Okay.
So, apparently, cuddling can relieve pain by stimulating the release of oxytocin, which is often called the cuddle hormone, which has a natural pain-relieving effect by blocking pain signals in the body and can also reduce inflammation. This process is further enhanced by the release of endorphins, which is the body's natural painkillers triggered by physical touch during cuddling. Ugh.
I love it. I love it. I used to hate cuddling. You what? You what? You don't like cuddling?
I mean, I like having my rest space. I'm one of those people that I love when the bed gets cold and then you just got like mattress and under the pillow to rub. I just be like,
wow,
yeah, you know.
So you don't find any benefit in cuddling?
Benefit?
Yourself.
Benefit?
No.
I mean, it's cute if you want to be like, but I'm always like, all right.
Damn.
I'm
no,
good.
I enjoy cuddling.
You could cuddle throughout the night? Like you could fall asleep like that?
Yes, I can fall asleep like that and then I have to separate. So it's like fall asleep and then separate for a little while. But if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm going to come back, for a little bit until I fall asleep and my body naturally separates. So it's just like bouts of cuddling throughout the night. And I think it does feel good. I ain't gonna lie to you. I completely agree with what your fact says. I feel like sometimes, but you got to be cuddled with the right person. I feel like
how do you cuddle with the wrong person?
You might cuddle.
They bony?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, I feel like cuddling with someone you love or are in love with versus, somebody you like or seeing. I feel like you get different levels of benefits. That when it comes to reducing inflammation and shit like that, I feel like that's cuddling with somebody that you are really, really connected with, maybe in love with. And because I know that when I cuddle, I just feel it's almost like a relief. It's just your problems go away. You're not thinking of that. It's like you're exhaling, just like,
You're exhaling.
Waiting to exhale. Yeah, I just feel like it just feels really good. Like when you get in the bed and you're super comfortable and you start rubbing your feet hella fast. I feel like that with cuddling. Cuddling is just it just feels so good.
Rubbing your feet together is cuddling?
No. I'm saying that feeling because you talk about you don't like cuddling like that.
Yeah.
But that feeling when you get in the bed and it's just so comfortable that you just rub
you do that
your
weird
feet.
thing and you're like, I do that all the time.
Yes, that for
I'm so comfortable.
that is the feeling that I get from cuddling. So it's really nice. It's just you just melt into each other.
For the most part, blech. But I do see why it's cool sometimes, especially when it's really cold. I think when it's really cold and you guys use each other for body heat, that's practical.
It is so hard for you to say that you like cuddling. Oh my God.
I mean, I don't always like it. I'm always I want to be cold.
Is that a manly thing? I don't always like cuddling, but
probably not.
You are
probably not
engulfed, getting your little head scratched.
Well, that's different. If I get my head scratched, that's not really cuddling.
Is it? What if you guys are laying together and you're getting your head scratched?
That's considered cuddling. Cuddling to me is booty to balls. Just in a little in the fetal position together.
No, that's just
one person gets hot,
That's just one position of cuddling. There's a million positions of cuddling that you can do with each other.
Keep going. What positions?
You just may not that one. There's one where, I've seen it to where, she's on her back and he's laying on top of her, arm around the waist, and they fall asleep like that.
Around the waist. So they're both
his arms around her waist.
Oh, so, he's facing.
Yes, he's facing down. he's laying on top.
Oh,
of her.
laying on the lap.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that.
That's a form of cuddling.
Is it?
Yes. It's not. Cuddling is not just the fetal position, not just spooning. There's a whole bunch of different positions.
Cuddling is the act of holding someone or something close for comfort, warmth, or affection.
Yeah. So there's a million different positions that you guys can cuddle in. It's about what is most comfortable for you.
Even arm around the shoulder is cuddling.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. I think you pick the position you like the least to say I don't like cuddling.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I didn't know this at all. Like I thought that this dude behind
spooning.
Getting his yes, spooning. Exactly. I thought spooning was the only cuddling.
No.
This chart is horrible because I hate all of these.
Damn. So there's a part of you that's not so machismo. Oh, I hate cuddling. There's some positions that you
have I ever
like.
been machismo?
Oh Lord, you was just saying you don't like cuddling, and I think
that wasn't because
it sounds mushy.
That wasn't because of mushy. Because that spooning is not an enjoyable position all the time. The arm
I
be falling
enjoy being
asleep.
the big spoon.
Okay, I can see that.
Why can you see that?
You'd be a good big spoon. Wait, niggas like being the little spoon. I know. There's been a whole thing on social media how dudes have been like, I don't mind being the little spoon at all.
I know. I've experienced
and
it.
I feel like you would be a decent big spoon. You big old spoon.
You're an idiot.
I could say, since you talk about I'm machismo, which I've never been.
No, I'm not talking about machismo like that. I'm talking about as far as you try to stray away from emotional, anything mushy like that. That's where you're.
That's not true. I think that that's fine. I'm not a huge fan of spooning.
Mm-hmm.
I've been the little spoon. Occasionally, I don't mind that at all. When I'm the big spoon, it's cool.
You like being
especially if there's a little booty. But my arm be falling asleep. Sometimes, okay. I will say this. Being the big
spoon, does it make you want to fuck?
Sometimes, yeah. But I will say this. It's different trying to go to sleep. I don't like spooning or cuddling when I'm trying to go to sleep. If two people are like watching something or just hanging out together, I feel like that is a good cuddle environment. Trying to fall asleep though is like back TF up. You know what I'm saying?
So you gonna need if you move in with somebody, y'all gonna need to have either separate rooms or a California king size bed.
I don't mind the separate rooms thing.
Yeah, I don't mind separate bedrooms.
Then I can have like a water bed with
a water bed,
like a race car. No, I'm just kidding.
Race car water bed. What are you 3?
I'm just kidding. All right. Well, this has been a soft episode. No threads.
I didn't get my thread.
I didn't either. Let's just give him the cuddle convo and the Batman convo. So it was a good conversation.
I think so too.
It was a good conversation. Well, let us know how you feel about cuddling. And what was
your alter
Batman?
ego, Batman effect.
What we talk about after that? I don't have the greatest memory.
We talked about passions.
Passions. Do you think putting down what you love means you don't? If you're not passionate about it anymore, or do you think it somehow is always a part of you? Because that's a very interesting point of view. It's just like sometimes you can, same way you could fall out of love with somebody or something, you can fall out of passion. But a part of me, just because I've seen it, has seen like passions be put down. Yeah. But it always comes back around.
The food chain might change throughout the years, you know?
No.
Wow.
Food
and
chain.
With that.
All right. Well, we will see you next week. I've been Patrick Cloud.
And I'm Persephanii.
Peace, niggas.